Hello and welcome to Painting Stuff. It's not a painting tutorial because I'm not really going to be saying I know better. It's more of a painting exploration. I'm going to try some different techniques or ideas that I've come up with and see how they go. This week we're doing this lovely landing craft that I've resin printed. Here's a render. But so first of all, what I did, spray painted it with, you know, the cheapest matte primer from Poundland. And the first thing I wanted to test was whether these speed paints from Army Painter would work with an airbrush. They're meant to be like contrast paint, so it speeds up what time you spend painting it, which would be useful. And I think they're kind of like an ink and they coalesce in the crevasses of your model. And so I've loaded it into the paint sprayer, and they're fairly thin and they do spray, so that was the first bit of success, and they do cover quite well, you know. So in terms of do they work with airbrushes, yes they do, that is something I have found out. But then the next question was, do they really do their job? So I've spray painted the bottom, and now look, this is a time lapse of it drying, and you are literally watching some paint dry now. There we go, look, it's gone a bit there. I mean, it's looking drier, but is it looking better? It's darker in areas, I would say, but whether it's still not completely finished, isn't it? So there will have to be more work to do. So then I painted the top half, and that's done here. I think really the aim of all the things I'm going to try out is to try and get things painted quickly. So at least it has been painted really nice and quickly, or at least it's green. And if I was happy with green, I'd stop there. But I want to do some other colours, so the next job is just to block out any other colours, just to get that all done, and we can do the detailing and weathering and all that later on. So that is step 2. And during step 2, I noticed I'd made a mistake, because obviously I hadn't let the inks dry enough, or maybe they just didn't like the primer, and they'd started to rub off in little areas like this, which was unfortunate. But then I thought, hold on a minute, it's really nice, a nice little weathering pattern that actually, if I'd tried to paint, would have taken me ages, which gave me an idea of, could I just spray silver underneath and then spray this ink over the top? So I went back and sprayed some of the bits silver with the aim of spraying over the top in the green colour, which is what you can see I've done with the little gun on the back. This has silver underneath, and if I rub it with my thumb, yeah, it does look weathered. Maybe a sort of primer layer in between would be nice, but actually this is all right. So I was happy. There we go. We've saved some time. It's a happy accident, a Bob Ross happy accident, to get a lovely worn sort of paint over metal effect. I'm quite pleased with that. You could, of course, just use dry brushing, which is then what I went back to do on the bed of the craft, the bed, the floor, that bit, and you do get essentially the same effect. And the next bit of weathering I want to do was I've made the gun silver, obviously, and just to give it a little bit of depth to the colour. Now, there's a number of ways you could do this. You could use washes, but I'm going to use the speed paints again and use them as a wash, because then I can feel to myself that I'm not just using null oil or agrath earthshade, or whatever the flip it's called, and I can feel better about myself that I'm creating new painting techniques. If that's fine. Yeah, so anyway, cover it all in a thin layer of black, but then the trick is rub it off, give it a bit of a dirty, then a bit of a clean, and then it looks like, yeah, it's been dirtied and cleaned. It's magic. And the other thing I see a lot of people doing nowadays is doing lovely glow effects on the energy weapons. So I'm going to mix some blues and a little bit of a turquoise together as a base, because energy glows in blue, and this is a fact we all acknowledge. And obviously by energy, I mean sort of sci-fi lightning, and not the potential to do measurable work, which is, you know, what it means. Anyway, I've painted some sort of dark turquoise into the crevasses, and I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing here. To be honest, I did this video about a week and a half ago now, and I'm talking about it later, so I'm not really sure what's going on. And it looks like the camera has stopped focusing, so I might skip ahead a second. There we go, and here you can see I'm now dry brushing some lighter blue on top of the darker blue, which does make it look a little bit energy-like and glowy, but there's going to be another step to it as well, where I get the air gun out and just spray just a tiniest dab of a white over the top, which just makes it look like the whole thing's glowing, because it makes the bits around it look lighter. I'm not sure I put enough on here, but it depends on the look you're going for. It looks more glowy than it did not glowing. Back with the oils or washes or whatever they are and clean them up. Dirty and clean, that is how we make things look old. And at this point, I was sick of looking at green things because I felt I'd overdone the green and I wanted to break up the colour a bit, because otherwise people are just going to go, oh, you just painted it green. So I decided some hazard colours, because it's a dangerous vehicle, and to hell with camouflage. So I'm going to put some hazard colours on it, and also I'm going to use masking tape and more airbrushing because it's lazy. And I want to try this because masking tape has failed on me several times recently, but I have a good idea now. Because the reason it's failed is where you put on masking tape and the paint has leaked underneath. And then I saw a TikTok from a painter and decorator who said, if this happens on your walls, what you do is you paint a little bit of the colour that you want to paint over on first, and that seeps in and forms a seal, and then you can paint the other colour over the top. So I was like, let's try that. This is what it's about. This is the video's about exploring ideas, yeah? Plus it means I can use the airbrush to do some sweet, sweet fades, and it makes it look like I have a much better control of my brush than I actually do. And I can use the masking tape to do the straight lines. Although the observant of you out there will notice that then I've just not done the thing I said about painting the colour over the top of the underneath that I said to do. So there will be problems shortly. Which leads us to the ever so satisfying peeling off section, which was going to be amazing, but you'll see on the first wing, as well as problems peeling it off, I did kind of pull some paint off, but I'm going to ignore that because I've decided that happened in like a battle, maybe someone pulled some paint off the ship then, so I'm going to ignore the first one because the second one actually came out looking pretty good. And then, as you will have noticed, that when I came to pull the stripes off the floor of the craft, I hadn't painted yellow first. I'd just gone in with the black over the yellow. So these lines look awful, and they've just sort of leached in underneath, especially because there's sort of a textured pattern on the floor, the deck, that's the word, of the ship. And so I just had to go back by hand and repaint all these bits just to cover the black with yellow, which was annoying. And I also used some washes there just to go into the corners, like between the yellow and the green, where it also all spilled over and made a mess. And if you put enough dirt into corners, you can kind of use it to cover up all those mistakes. That's what I've decided to do here anyway. And finally some highlighting, which I think you get the idea with that. It's just lighter colours of green on the pointy bits. I'm sure you've done it before. If not, other people will explain it better than this. And to be honest, the video's dragging on a bit now, so let's just skip to the end. So the final thing I did was one last layer of weathering. I got out this shading grey, which you can just airbrush over everything, and it just makes it look a bit darker. And I just go around in all the corners and nooks and crannies and spray some of that in, and it just adds a little bit more contrast, which it seems with painting is the aim, just contrast, making dark and light different. And the subtler you are at doing that with lots of gradients, the better you are at painting. That's the rule. And this is an easy way of cheating to do that. And there it is, all finished on the painting desk, and then here it is all finished on a white background, so it looks a little bit nicer. I'm quite pleased with it. It's not perfect, and I don't think I'm going to be troubling the Golden Demon anytime soon, but it's you know, it's mine. I like it. And look, the front opens, that's a useful bit. And you can close it up again, which is also useful, you know, that's life. Anyway, let me know what you think. Do you like painting videos? Do you like painting tutorials? Do you like this sort of tutorial? Do you like models? Tell me anything you like in the comments. Leave every comment you can, and like and subscribe and ring the bell, and then make interacting with this channel your sole purpose in life. Like the video, follow me around, press the bell, it makes no sound. Like the video, press subscribe, I don't know why I am alive.